Sportskeeda Wrestling with some unfortunate news today about the passing of the legendary WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. We'll get into the passing of this wonderful legend, a big part of the first WrestleMania. Also on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling top story of the day, we'll cover the developing situation involving Jimmy Uso's recent DUI charge and how that's now playing into his portrayal and presentation on WWE television. Plus, a new name has been added to the WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view this Saturday. Natalya is going to be in the fray. It's today's top story. Let's go.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Hi, everybody. I am Kevin. That is Jose. Lot to get into today. Unfortunate leadoff story. Such is life. Is we lose the legendary Paul Orndorff. Paul Orndorff was a critical part of the breakout era of WWE on a national scale. He was a part of the first main event of the original WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden. His son Travis going on Instagram today confirming the sad news of his passing. He was inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame many, many years ago. Widely considered a legendary figure, especially during the breakout era of the rock and wrestling era. One of the first big real villains to work programs with Hulk Hogan as WWE became a national sensation. Definitely a sad time, Jose.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. You know, as we become of a certain age, you know, we're going to see this happen more and more, you know, with these wrestling legends. And Paul Orndorff, unfortunately, he was already battling cancer and dementia. He wasn't in good shape at the end of his life, and his son put on a lengthy post on Instagram regarding this entire situation and his passing, and it's sad to hear anybody pass away, anybody lose a family member. I don't wish that upon anybody, and I personally want to send my condolences to the Orndorff family and to their friends, and just one big hug and positive energy. But these things are going to happen. It's a cycle of life. You know, these people make impacts in the sport, in the business. We remember them. I wasn't old enough to remember his first match, that main event match with Hogan, but I certainly watched it on replay or watched it on the network. And I know
I watched it when we rented it from Blockbuster.
Oh wow!
We rented it from Blockbuster Video, dude. That's how I got.
How satisfying is the clipping noise when you close that video cassette box? That is the most satisfying sound in the world.
He was also one of those first guys when I got into wrestling. I'm of that era. I was a real little kid. Hulk Hogan is the man. So who do you put up against him? It's Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. They did the backstabbing angle. They had an amazing, I can't remember the name of the card, but it is rentable. It's on the WWE Network. I feel everyone's going to go off of me in the comments, but he had an amazing super mega main event against Hogan in the early age when Hogan is red hot. Like Hulkamania is really, really running hard. And Orndorff gets to turn on him. I believe they did a cage in Montreal. And this is like just after WrestleMania, and they're riding high and really just doing amazing business. You know, it's like when they were doing 3 different touring companies. You know, Orndorff was a big part of that time. Everyone talks about, Hogan is the guy, but you consider some of the other people that are involved in that, you had to have dance partners with him. And Orndorff was one of those guys and knew how to get his heat. He was also one of the first real body guys, I think, that people saw on a national scale. And by body guy, we mean wrestlers
muscular.
Were muscular. Cut. They carried their look looked really, really cool. And that almost, I wouldn't say preceded Hogan, but he had years of experience in Hogan already and was established and had worked a lot of the territory system. So it was right guy, right time, and he delivered. And it's sad to consider that, he was a part of that big main event for WrestleMania. The first WrestleMania did not have a singles main event. It was a tag team main event. Hulk Hogan tag teaming with big celebrity at the time, Mr. T, against Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. Bob Orndorff in their corner. Jimmy Snuka in the corner of Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Sadly, some other members of that main event have also passed. A lot of fans chiming in with their thoughts. R.I.P. Mr. Wonderful, gone, never forgotten. CRC texting us here saying, rest in peace, Mr. Wonderful. A lot of different thoughts from fans. If you have any memories that you remember of Mr. Paul, Mr. Wonderful, let us know in the comments below. Maybe your favorite matches, your favorite moments with him. People bring up Miss Pretty Wonderful with Paul Roma, his tag team there as well. Stephen Chambers saying, rest in peace, Mr. Wonderful. Best feud with Hogan, stealing Hogan's theme song. Fired Heenan twice. Fired him twice.
I mean, who does that? Paul Orndorff does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lot of different times here. I particularly remember, I believe, Mr. Orndorff being turned on by the Horsemen. And it was just like, did they beat us? Like when they had those steel WCW letters, and they beat the snot out of them for a long time. I don't know what it was, but you'd see people get attacked and they would do the big beatdown angles, right? This is the first time I saw one. I was like, I feel really bad for that guy. Like, he's a bad guy, and I felt bad for him. It was the first time, maybe I was like 10 or 12.
That's how good he was, though.
No, but you were starting to mature and stuff like that, and you're just like, you feel for the characters in a different way. So definitely a sad situation here.
It really is.
And his son confirming the news, and now the wrestling world is starting to respond. A WWE, I believe, a WWE announcement or a WWE response to this will be noted here at some point as well.
They'll probably do something tonight.
Maybe, I mean, sometimes people think that those are put together very, very quickly. I could see something put together maybe within a day, because they have to put that footage together as quickly as possible.
They may have like a little vignette put together, maybe by tomorrow, but definitely like open to show tonight. They'll do like a little graphic
opening
passing.
If not an opening graphic, they'll definitely mention it. Like I would be surprised if it wasn't mentioned. If it's not mentioned tonight, there's something on their digital platform tomorrow. Like there's some video tomorrow, like this week. I know some people think of how WWE response to these things is incredibly important. It is, but I because we're just finding this out. They're on air in an hour. You know what I mean? So like in an hour and a half. So if people go off on them about it, I was like, I think they're gonna say something. Like they're gonna say something. If we don't get a video package, I don't think anyone should hold that against him here. More fans chiming in here. Lori Sackett saying, met him years ago. He was a good man. R.I.P. Paul.
You know what though? It's interesting that that this viewer says that, because a lot of my local friends here in Orlando, a lot of legends, the Anois, Alpha, I'm friends with him as well, and Alex Porto here in Orlando, and they just had really great things to say about Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful. One, that he was a super disciplined guy, one of the most disciplined guys in the business, and another one who was just a loving family guy. So, again, my condolences, and from the sounds of the fans who did get to meet him, sounds like he was a pretty stand-up person.
Stephen Loud saying Paul should have been an intercontinental champion. Besides, been in some main events besides Hogan and Savage. Yeah, true. I mean, he was in those main events. I think sometimes it depends on your entry point of wrestling, and he was a guy who really got Hogan going in terms of like how things were going. After the Sheik, it was who's going to be the big dance partner. It was Orndorff, and Orndorff had some really, really impressive matches with him as well. Cody Nakamura saying he had quite the impressive mustache. Yes, he did. In his more recent appearances with WWE, he had I would say a almost a Dutch Mantel level mustache.
Okay.
Dude. Yeah.
Okay.
After he was not wrestling anymore,
he
wanted to have his fun and grow his beard, and he had it there. Anthony Bruno saying in Mr. Wonderful, definitely saying that and sending his condolences. A lot of different people bringing this up here. Chris Len saying, I remember him in Austin riding up and down the road, teaching him some stuff. Austin has noted that as well, that he had some road time with Paul Orndorff and learned a lot from him. And obviously everyone's sending in their condolences here. We'll continue to follow the situation at sportskeeda.com and how the wrestling world responds and all of this as more and more tributes to Mr. Wonderful. Isn't he wonderful?
Wonderful.
Yes, that theme song. Yeah, he had quite the theme song too. As those tributes pour in, we'll have them for you at sportskeeda.com. All right, let's jump into the other stories of the day. Within today's video, we'll also cover changes for WWE Money in the Bank with those recent injuries to Bayley. What else is going to happen that's going to change the whole SmackDown side of things? There was a lot of changes, a lot of them, like very lasting changes this past week on SmackDown. If you have not watched it, please, maybe you want to get this in before Monday Raw. Maybe you're not going to watch Raw tonight. You want to watch something else. Go check out a very, very entertaining episode of Smack Talk, our SmackDown review show with Dutch Mantel and the star maker, Kenny Bolin, who was quite ridiculous. If you don't know who Kenny Bolin is, he is one of the more influential wrestling managers. He worked with a guy named The Prototype. If you don't know who The Prototype is, give it a Google. All right. Yeah, he worked with a very young John Cena. He is an incredibly entertaining guy. And they roasted each other pretty hard. It was very, very entertaining. And they covered a very big changing SmackDown. Bayley out. That's a huge name for WWE to lose right now, and out for a considerable period of time. Feels so bad for her. That brings in Tegan Knox and Shotzi to NXT. We know that Tony Storm is getting the call, just as those people were getting new programs on NXT. So continuity, throw it out the window on NXT.
Nope. What continuity?
SmackDown has injuries. We're gonna talk about it here. So now we have Natalya. She has been brought into the fray here for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view this Sunday. We will have a live Money in the Bank post show, by the way. We will be doing that on Sunday night after the pay-per-view, so make sure your notifications are on whatever app you're following us on here. Natalya added to the fray. This makes sense. I think this makes sense. I don't know if this means that Natalya will be the person leaving with that briefcase. I don't know if it's something she needs right now as one half of the women's tag team champions, but crazier things have happened, haven't they, Jose?
Oh, absolutely. The crazier things have happened. Like, who would have thought Carmella was going to be the one facing Bianca Belair this Sunday at Money? Actually, not even this Sunday. This coming up Friday on the first SmackDown, back with live fans in Houston. So this is, but this was kind of expected, because if Natalya was already in there, she's like, okay, well, let's just, she doesn't have a program, but let's pluck her out, put her in there, because Carmella's not in there anymore. So that actually makes a lot of sense. And I think they still got one more opening on the SmackDown side, right? Am I wrong, or am I right on that?
We'll double check on that before we get off today. I think Natalya being in there makes sense. It never hurts to have her, I think, in these big multi-person matches for WWE.
She's a veteran.
She's a veteran. She's a viable source. I will say this. She's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Also, very healthy, considering the amount of time she's been in the ring. She's been on the WWE roster, short of, I think, maybe a handful of some injuries. Been fairly healthy since 2007. So a lot of success to her. I just don't know if this is the time to pull the trigger with her. I think she understands her role. She's one half of the women's tag team champions, and you can tell that championship with her and Tamina meant a lot. Tamina's been in the building with her of WWE for a long, long time. I think that's something that she wants probably more now than a women's title run, which she's been able to do. Has she ever had the massive WrestleMania win? No, but I don't know if that's something that defines her career. I think her career is defined. Probably the first match in Saudi Arabia is her probably career defining moment. But I don't know. I'm not leaning towards her walking on a Sunday with the briefcase. But
yeah, I don't think she'll walk out.
Throw curveballs, man. They love to throw curveballs.
Exactly. Anything can literally happen in a WWE pay-per-view. I don't see her walking out with the Money in the Bank. I honestly feel that she's just there to really make everyone look absolutely great. And maybe they will throw a swerve ball. Who knows?
Let us know who you guys think is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcases this Sunday. We'll be asking that question all week long. Special content coming to our YouTube channel exclusively this week. We will be talking to the man who will challenge for the NXT Championship tomorrow. Before you watch NXT tomorrow night, you watch that big title match. One half of that match will be on our channel. So turn your notifications on so you get this exclusive interview as soon as it is available with Mr. Wrestling, Johnny Gargano. He will be talking to our very own Rick Ucchino. We'll have that dropping as soon as it is available. I understand that was recorded a little bit earlier today, and it was quite compelling. Johnny Wrestling had a lot of different things to say. We'll be covering that tomorrow in detail as well. Also coming up, we'll have some special stuff for Money in the Bank, a special watch-along this weekend as well.
We're going to be busy, bro. We're going to be busy.
Challenge. We will challenge your brain. It's Money in the Brain, baby. Money in the Brain. And we will see what you got in terms of Money in the Bank trivia. I challenge all of you to get behind our special content. I challenge you to subscribe, like, subscribe, all those different things. I know we say it over and over and over again, but
we got to jam it in your heads, though.
This is a big weekend for us. I really want to prove some things. I want to prove some things that you guys are some of the best fans of wrestling media online right now. We're so thankful for your time that you spend with us here. And we love getting your opinions on screen about different things here. People telling me that I need to speak English. I'm doing that. So I don't know where that came from. And other people bring up questions like this. Stephen Chambers wants to know, what if Sonya Deville, the official in WWE, who's been throwing curveballs at Liv Morgan, not putting her in this Money in the Bank match, what if Sonya pulls a swerve, entering herself in Money in the Bank and takes the briefcase?
It could happen. It could happen.
A lot of people have said that, but I don't know.
She's been very clear that she does not want to get back in the ring, that she really enjoys doing this leader role, this managerial role that she's doing right now. And she's good at it. So, but who's not to say that that's a swerve? And she comes into Money in the Bank. A lot of stuff that can happen on Sunday, guys.
I think Sunday is going to be a very eventful show. It's worth noting. I know we get caught up in all this news. This is WWE going back in front of fans this week. I think this week's SmackDown will be one of the more important SmackDowns you see on television in quite some time. So lot to cover here. And as we get over to SmackDown, let's get to the news of Jimmy Uso. Now, we covered this extensively last week. Jimmy Uso was arrested on a DUI charge in Pensacola, Florida. He has been previously arrested on a DUI charge, though he was not convicted of that charge. He then, in that same year, 2019, had an altercation with police in Detroit, Michigan. This is the second time he's been pulled over for this. This time a little bit more alarming. TMZ reporting the BAC, the blood alcohol content test he had was well over the legal limit of 0.8 at about a 0.205. He ran a red light well over the speed limit. So that's all out there. Now comes the fallout of, well, what are you going to do? Because this guy is a part of the biggest storyline in WWE right now with his cousin, WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, kind of playing a supporting character. He's on television a lot. He's wrestling a lot. He's back in the fray. He was out for an injury for a long time. But now the talk, certainly a lot of fans saying this, why do you have him on television if this just happened?
Well, here's the thing with this, this whole situation right now. So according to Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer, he says, and this is pure speculation, but this is just something that you guys need to take with a little grain of salt here. That since Jimmy's being involved in a major angle that could include The Rock for WrestleMania, WWE doesn't want to make any waves as they head towards that potential match between Roman Reigns and The Rock at next year's WrestleMania or the 2023 WrestleMania in Texas, which is next year at SoFi Stadium. So that's what Dave Meltzer is saying. He's saying that this could possibly, but this is pure speculation. We have no idea if this is true or not, if they are going to involve The Rock. Now, there has been a lot of chatter, not only with John Cena, but The Rock coming back, possibly for Barclays at Madison Square Garden or in New York City sometime down the fall for Survivor Series. There's been some chatter about that, but nothing involving Jimmy and The Rock. This is just all pure speculation, but we do have to kind of take a little bit of note of it because it kind of does fall into place all right, last time this happened, nothing happened. They actually got the titles when this happened. This time around, he's back on TV the following week. All right. Nothing was really mentioned. They're not going to mention it because it's something that's in the public eye. It's a legal matter. They probably want to stay away from that. However, I don't know, man. I just think that they're just kind of sweeping it on the rug. They're like, okay, this really didn't happen. We're not going to acknowledge it. That's how I feel about it.
I don't know. There's
I don't know
something.
I don't know if there's any truth behind what Meltzer's saying. You know,
true, but I mean, he's a pretty viable source on these things. But there's been times when this stuff hasn't connected before, or plans change, pal. But this isn't like a creative thing. This is a punitive thing from some very obvious legal issues from someone that people think are concerned about. And the word we got from people backstage at WWE from multiple sources, not just Meltzer, is that there was some real disappointment in this. There were some people that were very, very upset about this. And this goes beyond just wrestling. This goes into health and stuff like that, and all these different things. I'm concerned if WWE doesn't do something. Something has to be done. Like something. I don't think doing nothing, but also something could be done. But what do you do? But something could be done. We just don't know what that is, and that isn't public knowledge. But the way WWE operates on these things, and it has for the better part of 15 years, or well over 10 years, is people who do these type of things are face a punishment in the public space. WWE says that this is what it is. Here's our strike system. Here's our wellness policy for substance abuse and different things like this. And we don't want the culture of WWE to be completely broad painted with the culture of wrestling, and wrestlers do these bad things on the road, and they go through hard times and their bodies are beat up, so then they go and do that. They don't want that. They really don't want that. For lack of a better phrase, they don't want that stink. They don't want it. Yeah. And they want to change the culture of wrestling, or at least they've made some attempts to do it, and people say they don't. And I don't know. And then you think about it, is this something where if Jimmy's not involved, it costs this huge match with The Rock down the line? I bring this up because about 10 years ago, The Rock does that first big run when he comes back. And they bring him back for WrestleMania 27. He hosts. They're going to build to the match with him and Cena at the next year's WrestleMania. In between, they actually have his first match back in the ring, and he tags with Cena against R-Truth and The Miz. R-Truth at the time, marijuana was against the WWE wellness policy. It's been stated that it isn't now, or it is. It's not clear. You certainly see a lot less people getting charges for it now, because there was a lot of people who are getting popped for the WWE wellness policy, and the word around was, well, yeah, they're smoking a little bit and just trying to take the edge off. And the culture around marijuana and cannabis consumption is completely different now. But at the time, I believe it wasn't the case, and the word around was that R-Truth got popped for one of those. And it happened right before the match where they were going to have him and The Miz to the top heels. And they built those heels up. They built them up as a heel tag team to take on Cena and The Rock. And they said, all right, we're going to have this Cena Rock match, but after you're going to serve your 30-day suspension. So I don't know if that's going to happen here. I don't know if that's the case.
So you think they're gonna retrofit or kind of give them that back pay suspension after this whole thing is over?
But that's a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if they're gonna 3 years down the road? Oh, by the way, remember that thing you did back in 2021? Yeah, we're suspending you for 60 days this time.
And if
it's because the storyline is over now.
Yeah, and if they do that, it's kind of out
petty. It's really out there.
Like, is it petty though?
Well, okay, no, it's not petty. You're right. It's not petty. However, this is something you should have nipped in the butt when it happened. Something. He's in a 6-man tag match this Friday. Okay, him, Jay, and Roman on television against Ray, Dominic, and Edge. 6-man tag. Hot. I don't know if that's going to open the show or if it's going to close the show, because we also got a women's title match on Friday. But they ain't going to do anything, bro. They're not going to do anything.
Do you think Oh, do you also think the timing lines up here where WWE is going back on the road, and here we are, we're going to lose a hot hand in Jimmy Uso. We're going to lose one of our more presented characters.
Dude, they let go of what, 60 people in the first half of this year.
That's another part of it too.
We can't afford to have top names on the show, so they're just going to sweep it under the rug, bro.
Yeah, I wonder. I think there's going to be something done. Maybe it isn't the traditional suspension, but it's an interesting thing. Other people like Greg Chris saying, make it a public story. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. He wants to see someone punished, is what you're saying. That's what you want to see here.
I mean, if they're smart about it, listen, WWE is not stupid. WWE knows that their fan base, their hardcore fan base, knows what's going on with their talent. Okay. And if they can somehow play this into the storyline and make it brilliant, I think it could work. Like, just have Roman being super disappointed in Jimmy, for getting his ass arrested, or play it somehow. I don't know how you would actually pull it off, but there has been some storylines in the past where there has been some reality mixed in with that storyline, and it works.
It's certainly interesting here. I'm gonna see how this plays out, man. And I'm just gonna wait. It's just the timing. Maybe it's just the timing of it. I think the timing of this is maybe what'll it'll make it different. So definitely other people chiming in here. The very good James Espanto Fernando Taguay, who's always with us. He texts in.
That was a quick version.
I'm reading a very serious one. I'm reading a serious comment, so I don't want to be as ridiculous here. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
He goes, Jimmy needs to get some help with his alcohol problem. It's becoming truly troubling, but not just WWE, but Jimmy. Yeah, to me, it's more about him as a person than it is about him as a wrestler. And it's hard, I think, for people to separate that stuff. They're always like, well, if he's doing this and he's a wrestler, we want to see this play out publicly. And fans always want everything extra transparent. And I'm not saying that isn't the right thing to do, but I don't know if that's the thing that has to happen with every single person, what every single person is comfortable with, because this guy's already had a lot of embarrassing things happen in the public space. Is it going to help him by having more of these things happen in the public space?
Not to mention, and I don't know if you know anything about this, but I did catch some reports about some people on social media blaming Naomi for this. Did you read anything?
The fallout was so BS. Toxic wrestling culture, man. And I go off on this stuff all the time. Some people went off on her and tried to imply that she was responsible for this. And she for the most part deleted her Twitter, which is a major part of her social media presence. And so it's just
unbelievable.
Pretty ridiculous here.
What are we gonna do with you, internet wrestling community? Y'all need to stop that.
Knock it off, man.
Just knock it off. These are people's lives you guys are ruining. You guys are messing with. Mm-hmm. Stop.
Yeah. A lot of stories we're covering here at sportskeeda.com. A lot of big changes. Ring of Honor's Best in the World pay-per-view was last night. Chelsea Green premiered for the brand. She'll be a part of their upcoming women's tournament. A lot of different things going on right now at sportskeeda.com.
Wow.
So many different...
You forgot to mention Rush, bro. The new ROH heavyweight champ. Rush.
Fun to say. Yes, he is. Bandito win their title. I think I'm watching that pay-per-view, and right after we're done here, I'm going to catch up on that pay-per-view. So much wrestling to keep up with, man.
It's a lot.
We will be on top of it for you. Sportskeeda.com. If you hadn't done already, go ahead and download the Sportskeeda app, available on Google Play and the Apple Store. You can get that on mobile, all the different apps. We also have an SK Wrestling app. And of course, a lot of different content coming up from us on this, a very, very important Money in the Bank week. Coming up, we'll have that big trivia challenge, everything Money in the Bank, and a watch along of the classic John Cena, CM Punk championship clash.
It's going to be me. It's going to be you and me.
I was there. It was something special, and you'll be there again with us All right. We're going to be doing that exclusively over on our YouTube. Very, very big thing here. So definitely join us for this. It'll be coming up later this week. So make sure those notifications are on. If you are with us on Facebook, these exclusive special shows we're doing for the Money in the Bank will only be on YouTube. They will only be on YouTube as far as
actually there is a correction on that, Kevin.
We're changing a little bit.
Yeah, we're changing the trivia. The trivia is only going to be on Facebook because we have a broader audience.
Good.
So we're going to do the trivia. I believe that's going to be Sunday, a few hours, midday. That's what we're trying to aim for. We'll just make sure you guys are hitting your notifications so that way when we ever drop a brand new tidbit about what we're going to do for Money in the Bank watch along and the trivia, that way you guys find out first. So just make sure you have your notifications on.
Yeah, definitely here. You can follow him on the Twitter machine at Jose_G_official. Follow me down there as well at Kev Kelman. If you haven't done already, like this video, share this video, watch it on YouTube, watch it on Facebook, pass along to your wrestling friends, post it in your wrestling groups. And, with all this debate, all these different things, we got wrestling fans coming back to wrestling. Let's just try.
It's a big week. It's a big week.
Big week. All right, let's try to just decompress, breathe a little bit.
Okay.
All right, we'll share, as Zane Jaffrey says, some Money in the Bank picks. I don't know who's going to win right now, but I'm excited to see who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And just enjoy wrestling.
Enjoy it.
Bye.